taking up too much of your time. Just want to get started by saying welcome. This is one of our series of board trainings. And this is going to be talking about rapid response and the WARN Act, which is our required notification. All right. So just a little bit about the history of the WARN Act, which is the Worker Adjustment and Retraining Notification, or WARN Act. That's short acronym for this. Congress passed it back in August of 1988, and it went into effect in February of 1989. That was the original act, and the purpose was to provide protection for workers, their families, and communities by requiring advance notice if an employer was going to close, lay off, shut down, move their plant, any of those type of situations where workers would lose their jobs. With this act, it was again amended in 2014, and it was included in the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, as we know, WIOA. This particular act, it defines the terms for employer, for layoff, for shutdown, for any of the other items that may impact employees through a dislocation. It also gives those rules for those employers by requiring a notice. The employer must give at least a 60-day notice to employees to the state rapid response unit and the chief local elected officials in their area. If that's a mayor, a county commission, any of those type elected officials, the company is required to give notice to those individuals. However, the Act does not provide for any enforcement if the company fails to do so. The company is honor bound, if you will, to make sure that those individuals that are being impacted are notified. The only way that this act can be enforced is through the courts, and it would be up to the impacted employees to bring a court case. It would be civil court. So we really stress the importance with these employers that are closing to give these workers time to prepare for the transition between jobs, to prepare to go into training to get another job in a different career. The Act also encourages the maximum coordination with rapid response to lessen the impact on these affected employees. Because when you have a company that closes and you lay off employees, that impacts those employees, those families, those communities. It has a large impact when a company does close or relocates out of an area. So we like to provide, through rapid response, as much assistance as we can to those employees to help them shift into a different career, into training, into other options, so that they can make that transition at least a smooth one. The notices must be specific to include the number of employees impacted, the closing date, and the reason for closing. Rapid response is required to post those WARN notices publicly. So we have a website. It's workforce.alabama.gov/WARN list. And this is where, as you can see on the screen, we list all of those companies that are laying off. You can see on the side, it'll say either closing or layoff, and the report date is when they send the WARN notice to us. The start date is the start of the layoff, and of course, the company and the city. You can select through the drop down data from anywhere from 2018 all the way up to 2026. And we keep this warn list current as much as possible. So with that, do we have any questions on the WARN Act? If not, we'll move on to the services that Rapid Response provides. Rapid Response is housed in our division, which is the Pathways Division under Workforce Development. It is a service of the WIOA Title I administration. We provide services to dislocated workers, whether it's one that's being laid off or 100 or 500. It doesn't matter the size or the company. We provide assistance to anyone who's in need. We will actually go out and provide group employee meetings, presentations to those employees, to the company officials, to local elected officials. If they need if they want us to come in and talk about what we can provide, how we can provide it, we'll be glad to make those presentations at any point in time. I have a team member who is solely dedicated to providing rapid response. Unfortunately, this year we have seen an uptick in those warn notices that we have received, and some of them are fairly large layoffs, somewhere around 150 or so, and then some are fairly small. We've had one as small as 3 employees that have been impacted. So each time we go out to a group employee meeting, we provide this presentation. We ask our partner agencies to come in and provide those services with us, to do those presentations, to tell them about what's being offered, different resources that are available for these employees while they're still working their last few days, after they've been laid off, and all of, and any time in between before they get their next job. So we're going to quickly run through the presentation. As you can see here, this is just the cover page, Assistance for Dislocated Workers, and the telephone number that will get you straight to the Rapid Response team member. That is her direct line. And so, you can call and ask questions if you need information, anything like that. Let us know about a layoff in your local area. We can try to find out if there's a warn notice, reach out to the company or anything like that. All right. These are our partners. We work with the Alabama Office of Apprenticeship, the Community College, AIDT, the ATN Network, Department of Education, all of our regional workforce boards, and a whole lot of others. So we can call on any of these to kind of help us. AIDT provides training for employers, and typically they know of job openings in those local areas if a company is hiring. The career centers, although they're not listed specifically on here, they are part of Workforce Alabama and part of the Pathways Division. So they are very well aware of all of the job openings that are in their area as well. All right. This just tells those employees in those group employee meetings why we're there to help them. We provide on-site assistance. We want to be your transition specialist. We want to help you find that next job. The resources that we go into, we talk about unemployment. We talk about WIOA training, which is free training. Free training can be through the Innovation Center with the community college system. It can be other private providers that we work with. We have relocation assistance that we can provide to those who want to relocate to another area and need those funds to help pay for that move. We also have on-the-job training through the career centers. And so we have career centers that come in to work with us on these presentations, and they talk about all of these different resources to let individuals know if they're interested. There's also help available for health insurance options, the COBRA particularly. There's food assistance, free legal services. We talk about credit counseling services. We provide them a packet of full information. We have brochures about how to survive a layoff. It has a lot of good tips and good information to help people make it through, the layoff till they can get that next job. Some of the things in this layoff booklet: how to ace your next job interview, 13 proven ways to get a job interview. These are tips that come in handy if someone has been working at their job long term. I know we have seen recently that some of the companies that are laying off, they've had people there who have been there 15, 18, 20 years, even longer. So they may be out of practice on how to do a job interview. So a lot of this information is good. It's helpful. They can read it on their own time. They can take it home with them, and go through it. They can work with their family members to find, to go through it and see what would help them. We talk a lot about filing for unemployment. Unemployment only lasts 14 weeks and pays up to $275 a week. We tell them how to get prepared. Got to have your IDs ready. How to file. There's only two ways: by computer or by phone. There's no more in-person unemployment offices. So they need to go ahead and know how to do their weekly certification. So we walk through a lot of this information with them. And we tell them they've got to do their weekly certification. Don't forget that will impact that check that you get on the weekly basis. So, and typically they have a lot of questions regarding unemployment. So we try to have unemployment representatives to go with us. They can't always go, so we try to fill in as much information as we can. A lot of times the individuals from the career centers are familiar with UI and can help, but we also provide them with a 1-800 number that they can call, to ask any questions. We refer those that are being impacted to the Workforce Alabama website. This is our Alabama Works website. It has job opportunities listing. It has training, how to find a job, all kind of resources and information on the website that talks about a lot of different things. And we encourage them to go check out the website, see what all's on there, what they're interested in. They can find, jobs that are located close to them. They can find them in another zip code throughout the state, wherever they might want to look. They can find career center locations. There's lots of news and announcements on that webpage. So it's a lot of helpful information, and we really encourage them to go and look, register, and see what else they can find on there. We also refer them to the claimant portal. This actually provides questions and answers, how to manage their benefits, how to apply, access to their claims. They have to log in and set up an account. Excuse me. And so we walk them through the portal to make sure they understand what they need to do. We specifically point them to the questions. To the questions section. This has a lot of frequently asked questions, and it will have the answers on these links. So Has a lot of information. We encourage them to check this out and make sure they're very familiar with it. This is where they'll log in, create their account. Here's the contact page. We provide them with 1-800 numbers, online information, places, the weekly status certification numbers for Montgomery, Birmingham, the toll-free to the central office, what kind of records they may need or can request. All kind of information that they may need once they are laid off. We provide small, short videos to kind of help them understand what's going on. I'll go ahead and play this one for you. Oh, it won't play. All right. Then we give them a calendar just to remind them every Sunday, do your weekly certification. We really can't stress that enough because this is a high stress time for those that are being dislocated. And sometimes they tend to forget what we say in those meetings, but when they take these packets home, they have this information and they can go back and review it. So, and then here again, we provide the 1-800 number for unemployment. This is the part where we ask the career centers to come in and talk about all of their services. So again, we refer them to the alabamaworks.workforce.alabama page so that they can see what all's going on. But this is where the career centers can talk about resume prep, job search, individual training accounts, on-the-job training, any of those services that the career centers provide. This is where they would be able to see face-to-face your career center employees, and they're the transition specialist who can help these people go from their current job to their next job. Here's just a few things that they offer: resource room, employment data, personal job search assistance. That means a lot for individuals who may have worked in a manufacturing job and not really been comfortable looking online. They provide computers because if an employee does not have a computer or internet access at home, they can always go to the Career Center and receive the assistance that they need. Here's some other activities through the Career Center. Labor market information is a big one, just to kind of let them know what job opportunities are out there, in what industries, in what sectors. All of that information can be provided through the Career Center. And then, of course, they're more than welcome to ask questions of the Career Center. They can ask during the group session, or the Career Center staff usually stay around after those meetings so that the people can talk one-on-one because they may not be comfortable talking in the group. So we provide that personal, professional assistance to help these people get through this tough time. AIDT offers a lot of services with free training. They have locations throughout the state. We often ask that AIDT comes to these meetings, especially if they have an employer close by and they have job openings, or, they know of some, in other areas, or just to provide, information on what AIDT offers. So we try to bring in all of the resources that we possibly can to help these individuals. Obviously, my videos are not going to play. The Alabama Community College System, they provide career and technical education. They provide a lot of short-term training as well as long-term trainings. They have the Innovation Center that if people are interested that they can go to. We invite them to come to the rapid response meetings as well. Typically, we do have a lot of individuals from the community college system to join us, either through adult ed, the for credit side of the college, any of those. We also ask for letters for impacted employees, you know, that will give them credit or easy access to the community colleges. So we can provide letters from the community college to those employees. Go Build Alabama is another one that has a lot of resources and a lot of information. They work with the trades and they provide training. So we tell them to go check out the gobuildalabama.com website and, contact them if they're interested in those types of jobs. Let's see, I'd like to see if this one will actually work. There we go. Those videos really give them a sense of if this is not the line of work that they're in, but they may be interested in it, that it is a possibility that, they may be interested in those types of jobs. All right. So we tell them about Veterans Affairs. If they are a veteran, there's all kind of resources through the Department of Veterans Affairs, the state Veterans Department, as well as the federal. So we encourage them to take advantage and visit those websites, reach out to those departments, and see if they qualify for the benefits and services through those departments. Thanks, Tom. Go Build Alabama has a specific construction job board on their site. That's good information to know. We'll make sure that we share that. Thank you. Also, the Department of Rehab Services. We encourage them, if anybody has a disability, if they have a family member who has a disability, please reach out to Voc Rehab. They offer a lot of services. They can provide accommodations for the next job if that's what they need. So we tell them about, their services as well. Also, human resources, all of their services, the SNAP, the TANF, the child care, all of those services through the Department of Human Resources. The U.S. Department of Labor, they provide information about employee benefits, about pension plans, COBRA, HIPAA, any of these issues that someone might run into once they lose their job. U.S. Department of Labor provides a booklet and they come on site typically and they provide answers if anybody has any questions. We also give them the 1-800 number so that they can reach out to the Atlanta office, and ask. If they don't feel comfortable in the group employee meeting, we encourage them to call and ask. The Affordable Care Act through the healthcare.gov website. We provide the 1-800 number. We tell them about going on the marketplace and getting insurance, because if they have insurance through their previous employer and that's going to end, we tell them, this is where they need to go to check it out until they can get that next job. And all of these are just different resources that we provide, and we give them contact information and just kind of tell them a little bit about it. The All Kids, that's an insurance program if you have kids, or if these employees have kids under the age of 18, they can also apply for this. This is low cost insurance through Blue Cross Blue Shield. So again, the 1-800 number. We tell them about the 211 Connect, all kind of services through that. Tell them how to get in touch with them. For those that may be interested in entrepreneurship, we point them in the direction of the Small Business Development Center Network, chambers of commerce, places like that where they can go and find information about how to start their own business. If they run into legal issues, once they have lost their job through no fault of their own, if they run into any kind of legal issues, we encourage them to reach out to Legal Services of Alabama. They provide free legal help. We give them the 1-800 number to tell them how to get in touch with them. But we really encourage them to use these resources and don't struggle through this on their own. If they need the help, reach out. Someone is always there and that can help. Credit counseling is a big deal after they lose their job. Unfortunately, a lot of people live paycheck to paycheck and can get into trouble when they lose those paychecks. So we encourage them on the debt management planning, the budget counseling, finance counseling, all of that through this national foundation. So we have a lot of resources that we do provide. We're always looking to see if there are other resources out there. If there are and you know of them, please let us know. We'll be glad to include the information in our rapid response presentations. So with that, that concludes the presentation on rapid response. At this time, I'll go ahead and take questions if you have any. I do see one. Yes, we are going to send out copies of the PowerPoint. So it should come out later this afternoon. Does anybody have any other questions? Okay, Tom says once worn. Can you come off mute and talk to me? Okay, once the WARN notices go out, do you have career fairs where you invite employers to engage? Yes, we do. We work with the career centers and sometimes chambers of commerce or any of those officials in the local area. And we try to set up job fairs for those affected employees. We can set it up at the career center. Sometimes we can set it up on site at the employer, if they'll give us room, space at their locations. We do provide those career fairs and job fairs. As a matter of fact, we've got one scheduled for one of our layoffs in Birmingham on April the 7th at the Career Center. Any other questions? All right. Well, I do appreciate your time. You are welcome to email me if you have any other questions, or if you want more information, just let me know. All right. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.